Hey everyone, before we get into the story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more stories like this. A while ago, my husband asked me to stop making jokes about infidelity, but on his birthday, I couldn't resist. Ironically, the cake I thought would make him laugh ended up being the only thing no one touched that night. Looking back, I should have seen it coming. At the time, though, I didn't understand why he couldn't just laugh it off like before. I'm Cy, 28 years old, and this happened 3 years into my marriage with Donovan. Donovan was almost unreal in how good he was. Patient, kind, gentle. Everything I wasn't used to. He'd cook breakfast every Sunday, tuck little notes into my bag, remember anniversaries I completely forget, and love me with a steady tenderness that asked for nothing in return. Me? I was the sarcastic one, the girl who turned every serious thing into a joke. I thought that was how love worked. If you could laugh together, nothing could touch you. What I didn't see was how my humor, over time, started to sting. Little cuts that didn't bleed right away, but still left marks. It began small. One evening at dinner with friends, I joked, if I ever cheat, it'll be because Donovan takes forever to pick a movie. Everyone laughed, except him. Beneath the table, he quietly slipped his hand out of mine. Another time, during a family barbecue, someone asked if I'd ever cheat. I said, only if a richer, hotter guy shows up at a yacht. More laughter followed, just not from him. Later, he pulled me aside. His tone was calm, but the sadness in his eyes said more than words ever could. "Cy," he said softly, "please stop joking about cheating. It hurts." I promised I would, but I didn't really get it. To me, they were harmless words. To him, they were cracks forming in something sacred. When his birthday came, he didn't ask for much, just a quiet dinner at home, his favorite cake, and a few gifts. Simple things that always made him happy. I wanted to surprise him, make him laugh. So I ordered his favorite chocolate cake and asked the baker to decorate it with a tiny sugar figure of me kissing another guy, with the words, "Hope you don't catch me cheating," written in icing. The baker hesitated. "Are you sure about that?" she asked. I laughed it off. "It's just our humor," I said confidently. That night, Donovan came home with flowers, kissed my forehead, and smiled that warm, familiar smile that always made me feel loved. Dinner was perfect. He even laughed when I teased him about oversalting the food. Everything felt easy. Then I brought out the cake. I expected him to chuckle. Instead, he just stared. The silence in the room turned heavy. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet but full of hurt. "I asked you not to do this," he said. "I thought you understood." I tried to shrug it off. "It's just a joke, Don. Don't take it so seriously." He stood up slowly, eyes locked on mine. "You don't respect me, Cy. You keep turning my feelings into jokes, even when I tell you they hurt. That's not love." I rolled my eyes, defensive. "It's just a cake." He shook his head. "No, it's a pattern." Then he grabbed his jacket and whispered, "I'm done," before walking out. The cake sat there, untouched. The frosting looked flawless, mocking me with its cruel message. At first, I was angry. I texted him, left voicemails. He ignored all of them. I told myself he was overreacting, that he'd calm down. But the next morning, a text came that made my stomach drop. "I'm staying at Mark's for a while. Don't worry about me. Just think about how long you made me feel like a joke." That hit harder than anything else. For the first time, I saw it clearly, the quiet damage I'd done over the years. Every time I laughed off his hurt, dismissed his feelings, or hid behind sarcasm, I was tearing down the trust he'd built. I never cheated, but I made him feel like he could be replaced. And eventually, he believed that. A week later, I drove to Mark's house, rehearsing apologies the whole way. My hands were shaking, but I was hopeful. When the door opened, it was Mark, not Donovan. His expression said everything. "He's really hurt, Cy," he said softly. "He doesn't think you understand." When I got home, the cake was still there. Its edges had dried, crumbling, a silent reminder of what I'd lost. It wasn't funny anymore. It was a monument to my own stupidity. Days turned into weeks. I finally wrote him a letter. No jokes, no deflection, Just honesty. I told him I'd been childish, that sarcasm was my way of avoiding vulnerability. I told him he deserved someone who respected his feelings, not someone who laughed at them. He never replied. 6 months later, a single text appeared on my phone. I never wanted to stop loving you. You just made it too hard to say. Now he's with someone else. She's gentle, soft-spoken, kind, everything I wasn't. I've seen pictures. He looks happy, and I hope she never jokes about leaving him. Because now I understand, some people don't walk away because they stop caring. They walk away because they cared too deeply, for too long, and they just can't take the hurt anymore. If someone tells you your words are hurting them, listen. Not everyone yells or cries when they're in pain. Some just quietly collect the pieces of their heart, close the door behind them, and never come back.